Hi, we're live. I'm Rich Lieberman. I'm sorry that I have been away. I know this is not groundbreaking news and that the world has survived and the things that take place in the world that we know will continue to take place. And this hasn't been a good early part of 2025 for me. Nevertheless, I thought it would be both reasonable and cool of me, air quotes, to inform you why I was gone for what now? Almost 4 days. Well, three and a half. And I know a lot of you look forward to my reports regarding various media news and information and things of that nature. So I thought it would be decent enough to let you know what the situation is. I hate to sound patronizing, just be patient. I will be back. I'm a strong son of a bitch in most cases. Then I can be a little kind of that P word. I hate using that word too. Okay. Even in its most guy like, drastic like conditions, I hate that word. It just never appealed to me. I'm not trying to be righteous. I'm just being factual. I hate that word. It's just yeah. Okay. So basically, last week I was walking across the street near this little plaza area out and about. And I had my shorts on, much like I have my shorts on now. It was a warm day. And I acted like a klutz. And I naturally, I fell. Now, fortunately, nothing serious happened or anything. Didn't hit my head, which I could have. I was out in front, literally to where I can cushion the fall with my hands, and therefore not, my luck, I would have hit my head and, the blood, and it would have been ugly. But in doing that, I've learned now and read a lot that the body may sound fine and look fine and feel fine, but the next day you wake up and you feel it's like whiplash. You don't really get the effects of whiplash until, the next day or two or whenever. So look, I didn't even go to the doctor because I was fine. I could move around. I didn't break anything. I was sore, but boy, the next day, not only was I sore, but I almost couldn't get out of bed. And fortunately, I was able to use my back chair. It's kind of like a wheelchair mechanism. And then I started taking these extra strength Tylenols. And boy, that screw me up. And it didn't do the trick. And I didn't want, I had an opportunity to get some pain, real pain pills. But, I have this real paranoia about being addictive to pain pills, prescription pain pills. I'm not talking about Oxycontin and, that kind of stuff, which Rush Limbaugh became addicted to. But nevertheless, I'm going into whole detail here just to give you an idea. And I've never really fallen before. I mean, I've had little minor falls and this that. But as you get older, you'll be more prone to falling, as I've discovered. So all right, let's skip ahead. Weekend and Monday was better, and Tuesday morning was even better. But I'm still sore, and I've been trying to continue to work on doing here a chore that I love, but trying to keep you informed of some of the situations taking place in not just Bay Area media, but beyond and all that. By the way, just some offhand remarks before I get, well, I'm just going to formally tell you that I hope to be back on Wednesday or Thursday. I think I'll be back one of those days. But as I read and skew the internet and look at some of the sites that I normally look at, which is pretty much USA Today, I do look at the Drudge Report. It's pretty good. I mean, it's convenient. Um, and as much as I regret I have to, but to get local news is ridiculous here. Um, so I look at the SF Chronicle and SF Gate. Oh my God. And the Mercury News, East Bay Times. We really have, folks, very, very poor news sites. It's a wonder that we're able to, look and see and find out basic stuff. But in any event, I don't want to go off on side stories. Um, so I've been gauging news. I've been working on some really incredible stories that so far have not come to fruition because we got to nail down the scope of these stories, make sure that they're legit, always try to get the right before putting out anything. I always use the Cronkite line, which is one of my favorite lines. You want to get it, you want to get it first. Of course you do, but you want to get it right first. That was the Cronkite line. So, a couple of things I noticed. I went off of my little diatribe on Bill Maher, and I know CNN mocked him, Maher, with some, oh yeah, Larry David. They carried this story about Larry David mocking Bill Maher, who I think his whole Q rating is plummeting because he comes off as this sort of narcissistic asshole who who talks and puts himself out there as if he's curing cancer, or, with his, you know, weird the smoking, and I'm not talking about the dope, which tells us every day that he loves to smoke dope. Great. Thanks, Bill. We really didn't know that. But now he's into this whole internet show that he does where he smokes these, like, they look like those annoying smell to high heaven cloak cigarettes. Is that what they are? And he thinks he's like becoming the next Dick Cavett or David Frost. Oh my God. So Mars just an egotistical asshole, as I said, tried to say it much faster, but he is. That's number one. Number two, the ratings, and these are just cursory sort of quick shots, so bear with me here, but radio ratings came out on Tuesday today. And yes, both the sports stations had a little bit of a bump, a little bump. And on the case of the KNBR, the Giants helped them a little bit. So their March radio ratings went from a 1.9 where they fell below 2. These are the 6+ ratings, which don't mean a hill of beans to advertisers, but they do reflect important listener guides as to who's up, who's down, that kind of a thing. So KNBR recovered a little bit. And of course, they're going to tell you how great now their radio station is when nobody listens. Really, nobody really listens to the morning show. Very few people listen to the 10 to 2 p.m. show, and the afternoon show is just struggling, if you could call it struggling. Nobody listens, nobody has listened, and the little putz on there who claims that he's the driver of that 2 to 6 p.m. program, Copalopes. He's just not only they're not drawing listeners, he is not really regarded as somebody who likes to be liked, and he's a smart alecky little ass, and it's evident in the numbers or lack of numbers. So they're just hanging on, and they're just going to be basically a little bit of an oatmeal company. What I mean by oatmeal, it's just little strands of shit that are going to go on, and they're going to survive by piecemeal. and they're going to continue to broadcast the games, and they're going to continue baseball games. And the only way they can go up is by sheer circumstance because they're so down. They've been down. And when you literally have to go to your corporate to pay for lights, and when you're running to get out of the building where you broadcast for a while, and you're moving to lovely and beautiful Daly City, that should tell you about the financial condition of KNBR and its related stations, which are diminishing by the day. The game 95-7, the game also had a little modest bump, largely due to the Warriors and their playoff run, which started earlier in the week, and that's about it on that end. They're again continuing to struggle, namely out of their signal situation, which is not the greatest. And when you're an FM, okay, you have to have somewhat of a signal. Okay, so there's that taking place. There's also, again, the continued rumors about layoffs at CBS. I'm going to make a little statement about that. NBC, this is all local stations, part of the national rumor mill that has it known that a lot of these networks are facing money issues, and what do? They lay people off. CBS, I'm told by a local source here, is, I don't want to say thriving, but apparently they found enough sunshine, if you will, figuratively speaking, to where they won't have to lay off that many people, if they lay off people at all. That has to do with, their streaming site is doing well, but it's not making waves like it first did when it came out. So we'll give them credit there. And look, if this is true by someone, a contact who tells me that CBS will not lay off, at least here in San Francisco. Now, they may do the opposite in, say, New York and Los Angeles and some outside markets like Dallas or Austin, Texas, of all places, that kind of a thing. All right, back to me, and I'll be brief and let you go finish whatever you're doing. If you're watching live, hope you're having a great, great Tuesday. If you're watching at another time, please do become a member of my channel by clicking on the subscribe button. You all will get the privy and the inside dope on the inside dope, because a lot of these stations now and the networks and even streaming, what they tell you, this is a very common practice. They give you the very, very basic information. They never go into detail, especially with these layoffs looming. They have these real, I always use the term saccharin, saccharin, the fake sugar that a lot of people have to use or what have you. Well, they give you the fake rendition of what is taking place within corporate. And like every other business, especially tech, with all these developments and tariffs and the economy and all that is taking place, has an effect on all business, especially communications businesses. Because the public, which is the lifeblood of the corporations, their bottom line, whether it's networks, streaming, radio, internet, all that is based on confidence. People, to a large part, people have more confidence. They're drinking the $5 Starbucks as opposed to the $3 Starbucks. They're going out noshing on boy chick bagels, which are unbelievably like $4 a bagel. They're pretty damn good bagels, I will tell you this. Chewy. nice and mushy and all that. Uh, what was I saying? Anyway, that has an effect on everything. So with this economy the way it is with tariffs and all these question marks, nobody knows what the hell is going on. You look at the stock market, but it continues to go down, and who knows what's going to take place. I have no idea. Never been a player in the market. I just take notice of what's happening, like all of you do. So it remains to be seen, but the trend is, and these networks are no different. They're a cutthroat business, and they have very, very, very little regard for the employees, and they don't mess around. They're almost getting to a point where they're going to almost be as bad as the Cumuluses of the world and Odyssey, but at least Odyssey has some semblance of broadcast acumen, radio, whereas Cumulus um, is a hedge fund, and they happen to be in the business of radio, but they don't know anything about radio, and they go out and destroy radio stations. So we'll leave it at that. Again, I thank you and I'm glad that some of you have asked where I am, and here I am. Okay. And I will talk to you soon. Just be patient, but I'll be back probably Wednesday, if not definitely, knock on wood, Thursday.